before this call, we were chatting and you brought up the example of Anthony Bourdain, who I love. He's one of the few kind of celebrities that I always looked up to, and I loved his shows. So I just really enjoy him and what he brought to travel and culture and food and all that kind of stuff. But it was just such a unique example of potential at work. And I'd love to hear your perspective on how that shows up, and maybe even through your own example too, like what you were working on and where you are today. But I think
Yeah,
he's such a identifiable example of this.
yeah. He was always like a huge inspiration for me. When I was traveling, he inspired me to go to places that I never would have thought of before because I would have felt uncomfortable or unsafe. And he showed me that everywhere is safe and interesting and people are people anywhere you go. So he was hugely inspirational for me. And at the time when I was feeling like stuck and struggling, he was also inspiring to me because he wrote Kitchen Confidential, the book that made him famous, in his 40s. And until then, he had been a chef in New York, but and like maybe fairly successful as a chef, but like had a fairly like consistent life and no fame or anything, and not really any indication that his life was going to change. And then he wrote this book, Kitchen Confidential. It blew up. He got famous. And 2 years later, he's now traveling the world as for his job. And he becomes like a celebrity. And the rest of his life was totally different. And I think when I was younger and I read this story, it broke that thought pattern I had, which was you have to pick your career and get it right away. Otherwise, you'll like not have a good path. And it was like, oh, your life can change entirely at any age. It doesn't all happen when you're young. It can happen at any point when you're older. And the work that you do to get there, like for him, it was his knowledge and experience as a chef that enabled him to write a book that then launched the next thing for him. For me, it was my knowledge and experience as a painter, which gave me the what I needed to be able to become a coach in the industry. And then ultimately now that experience working as a coach and a trainer has allowed me to become a consultant and continue to grow. And so that's where I look at like, I love the idea that at 40, my career and life could take a total 180 and I could end up doing something completely different unexpectedly. And that really like made me much more excited about life and the potential we have and how it can totally change at any time.